Good day, and for this video we're going to be working through the grade 10 November practical examination of 2020. Just an apology for the audio quality. I've moved over to my headset microphone because the condenser microphone seems to be picking up all the sounds and rain outside. So if there's a problem with the audio quality, I do apologize for that. In just a couple of housekeeping items, in the description of this video I have included timestamps for the various questions for this question paper. So if there's a particular question that you want to have a look at, that you may be struggling with, you can click on those timestamps in order to navigate to that part of the video. Also, I'm going to be including a short link to the question paper if you don't have one on hand, so that you can have a copy of that open as well as I move through this guideline. Okay, so the grade 10 November paper from 2020 was a 2.5-hour paper. That was 100 marks. A couple of the housekeeping items there. You can see that this consists of 10 pages in this question paper, the normal examination instructions, and the most important part, the data files that are also included with this question paper. And so when you are sitting in your examination venue and you find those, it's usually a good idea to corroborate and make sure that you have the files necessary in order to complete this question paper. Okay, without further ado, let's dive into question one. So question one will usually be your word processing question, and the file that we need in order to make this question a success is one background. So without further ado, let's open that one up. This is what the document looks like, and obviously there are going to be a couple of word processing features that we need to apply in order to score the maximum marks for that. So I'm just going to move the question paper to the one side there. As I mentioned, if you need your own copy, you'll be able to link to that in the description as well. Right. The first question they ask us to do is in 1.1, the 3-mark question, so naturally there'll be 3 things that we need to complete for this question, is to locate the text e-learning lessons, which is at the top of page 1, found it, wasn't hard to find. Format the text as bold, so that's simply grabbing that, and you can either use the keyboard shortcut Control-B, or on the ribbon under the Home tab, click on bold. The next thing we need to do is remove the underlining from the text, and obviously you can use Control-U to toggle underlining on and off, or once again on your ribbon you can use that button on the ribbon to remove underlining. So that was the second thing that was done. That was your second mark. And then they want us to double the current font size. Well, first things first is I need to see what the current font size is. If I look here at the top, I can see that it's currently set to 20, and so naturally double 20 will be 40, but I look down in this list and I don't see 40. You'll remember that you don't have to use the combo box or the suggested font sizes, but you can also type in a font size that you'd like. And I think it was just testing that you knew that you could actually type in a font size there rather than selecting. And that's your full 3 marks for question 1.1. The next thing they want done there in 1.2 is to locate the word art contents on page 1. Here it is. And there are a couple of things we need to do to that one. For 1 mark, they ask us to remove the shadow effect from the word art. Everything to do with word art, you can see the highlight go up in your ribbon is a shape format problem. There's a text effect that they've added. It currently has a shadow, and so I will just click on this one right at the top that says none. And then I've removed the shadow effect from that. We then need to locate the 4 items, referencing sources, citations, and page layout on this page as well. They want us to add in automatic numbering in a list. So it displays as follows, except without the border, of course, and that's for 2 marks. You'll notice it's got numbers, but I think the second mark is probably in the fact that there is a parenthesis around the number. Right, so I would grab that list, much as I have done now, selecting it, and I would go to my numbering at the top here, and I would look for this one on the list. If I didn't find it, I could also define that numbering, say that I want it to be 1, and then instead of a full stop, I would have typed in, I would have typed in a bracket instead. So then it would have looked like that. Right, let me just remove my zoom there, and you can see it's now got 1 and a bracket. But fortunately there was one of those in the list, so I'm just going to go and use that. The next thing we need to do is locate the paragraph in red under the heading Introduction. Once again, not a hard one to find. It looks like it's going to be an alignment problem. They don't want it center aligned, they want it left aligned. In your ribbon at the top under your paragraph in grouping, and I click on left align there. Add paragraph borders only to the left and right sides of this paragraph. To add paragraph borders, we go to the Design menu and we move across to the end of the ribbon where it says Page Borders. Don't stress, we're not actually adding a page border, we are in fact going to borders. And so they don't specify what kind of border they want added there. I would probably just make my border slightly thicker. And then I would say, give me one on the left and one on the right. And there you go. That section has now been given a left and right border only. And we've left aligned the paragraph, so that is left align 1 mark, left border 2 marks, right border 3 marks. Okay, the next thing they want us to do in the question paper here is to ensure that the text formats or flows around the picture, like in the example in the question paper, and they also, you notice that they want us to change the picture, and that's simply resetting the color of the image to what it was originally. So in order to do that, I would grab this picture, and you can see immediately your picture format goes on in your menu at the top. I click on that one, and under color, I would say, no, I'll probably just go to reset picture. And then under your layout options, I think I would set this one to square, and that would make all of the text wrapped to the right hand side of it. Square or tight would work in this when it comes to your text layout around the picture. And that was your 2 marks. We then need to locate the paragraph under the heading Some Silver Linings, and we need to change this paragraph spacing to 1.15. So I would grab this paragraph, select it or highlight it, and then in my line spacing options, you can see 1.15 is an option there. And then it will format much like the rest of the document has. We need to ensure that the 2 highlighted words, teaching and part, are never separated. So if it gets to the end of this line, for example, it will automatically move over to the next line and take teaching and part together. In other words, making them metaphorical Siamese twins. And so in order to do that, I would push Control Shift Space, and that's putting in a hard space, which you can see because my Show Hide button is on. If I switch it off, it looks much the same as a normal space, but what that hard space does is ensures that teaching and part will always remain together. So once again, it's the key combination, Control Shift and Space. They then ask me to remove the soft enter in this paragraph. Here you can see the soft return has been used, and I'm going to just put my insertion point next to it and push the delete button, and there you can see the soft enter has then been removed for 3 marks. 1.7 asks us to locate the image under the heading Differentiated Teaching. It's this picture over here, and we need to format it like this in the question paper. So you'll notice Differentiated Teaching with the picture is now on the right hand side. It's got an oval border, and it's also asked us to remove the lamp, and the gentleman is sitting on the left of the picture and the remainder of his desk is to the right. So there are a couple of things I need to do to this. The first thing they say is to remove the brown lamp, so you can see there's a brown lamp there. So let's see where our highlight goes on. Picture format comes live at the top, so I'm going to utilize that. I'm going to start off by cropping the picture to get rid of the brown lamp. So I select that and drag across to get rid of the brown lamp. The next step is to put my oval border, and then remember the gentleman was sitting on the left and the rest of his desk went to the right. So all I need to do now is, with this picture selected, click on rotate, and I'm going to flip it in the horizontal, and then it should display exactly like the question paper is asked for. And there were 3 things that you needed to do there. It was cropping, putting in the oval, and flipping the picture. So that was 3 marks. Right, they then asked me to locate the EM in this differentiated teaching paragraph. It's been highlighted for us, and they'd like us to change it to an N-. So that's a slightly shorter one. Remember, it starts with a dash being your normal button on your keyboard just next to your backspace and plus sign. That's a small one. Then your N-, slightly longer, like an N would be, and then M being a longer letter than M would be your longest dash, your M dash. So I select that M dash that's been inserted there. I go to Insert, Symbols, More Symbols, and then under this, I select the tab at the top of the menu in the dialog box that says Special Characters, and you'll notice N dash is in that list. Insert, and you'll notice it's shortened ever so slightly. Good. Question 1.9 for 3 marks looks at something they want formatted into 2 columns. And more than that, they want it in 2 columns, but also with a line between. And then they want our pupils and learning crucial skills for lifelong learning in the 4th Industrial Revolution world. They want that to be at the top of column 2. So what we need to do there is 3 things, because obviously 3 marks being awarded for that question. So I would start off by selecting that paragraph. I would go to Layout. I'm going to put it into 2 columns, but I'm not selecting that because I want the line between as well. So I go to More Column Options. Still selecting 2 paragraphs, except the only difference now is I'm going to select the checkbox in the dialog box that says Line Between. Last thing that I need to do is ensure that Our Pupils goes to the top of the next column. So I put my insertion point in front of Our Pupils, and I go to Breaks, and I put in a column break in the Layout tab. And then it's at the top of the next page. So that was the 3 marks that they needed there. They asked me to save but not close this document, so please, in the examination, I probably should have reiterated this at the beginning, do save regularly. The autosave feature has been enabled on all the computers you'll be examined on, but obviously that is set to every 5 minutes, so it is in your best interest to ensure that you save as often as possible. They asked me to locate the empty yellow text box under the heading Dual Systems, and I think I found it. And in this, they would like me to copy one sentence containing the text for IR from the One Experiences document. Okay, so I need to go and open the One Experiences document. And they ask me to copy the one sentence containing 4IR. I'm not going to go around searching for it, so I'm going to use the Find feature and type in 4IR. If I can type today, there we go. And they want the sentence that contains this. So it's basically Our Pupils are all the way to learning is crucial. So I'm going to copy this one sentence. I'm going to go back to this document here. And they say paste the sentence you copied into the text box of this document. There we go. And I say paste. And there it is in the text box. And they say I can then go ahead and close the document One Experiences. So this is just testing your ability to copy between one document into another. Right, they asked me to locate this field in this document that has the file name and path. And there are a couple of things that they want done there. They say the path of the file should also be shown. At present, it's just showing the name of the document, so I need to go and change that. And they also want the name and path to always display in uppercase. So I'm going to right click on this, one background doc, and say Edit Text. And I'm going to check the box over here that says Add the path to the file name, because right now it's just the file name and I want to show the file path as well. Remember, the file path will show you where that document has been saved as well, what drive on your computer, and how to navigate in order to get there. Other than that, they also specify that they want this shown in the uppercase. So in this dialog box, you'll notice their format, and I can make it uppercase and click OK. And here you can see it shows me the whole file path that one needs to follow on my computer specifically in order to navigate there. Right. Underline all occurrences of the whole word teach in this document. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the Find and Replace option, which is in my home menu. I click on Replace. I'm going to find all instances of the word teach. I'm going to replace it with the word teach again, but then you're like, okay, but what if I actually changed? But while I'm in the Replace with field, I'm going to go to More, Format, Font, in this dialog box, and under Underline Style, I'm going to say, yes, give it a single underline, please. So Replace All. 13 replacements made. So they found the word teach 13 times and they replaced it with teach but underlined. The next thing that needs doing there is to apply automatic hyphenations to the document. They don't specify how much or how often. So that's simply Layout tab, under hyphenation, set it to automatic. That's 1 mark. Change the bottom margin of the document to be the same as the top margin. Only way I'm going to know what that is by going to Margins, Custom Margins. I can see currently my top margin is 2 centimeters, but my bottom margin has been set to 1.5. So what I need to do then is just toggle the spinner to 2 centimeters. You could also type it in, but it was close enough for me just to utilize the spinner. Click OK, and now my bottom margin is the same as my top margin. Remove the empty page at the end of the document. You'll notice there's one here. And the reason there's one here is because of this page break. So all I need to do is put my insertion point next to this page break and delete that insertion or that page break, and it will then remove the page break in the document. And that brings us to the end of question 1. Question 2 has us looking at the 2 findings document, and in 2.1 they would like us to add automatic page numbering to the right side of the header in the format page X of Y. Easiest way to get into the header of your document is if you're looking at the page, double-clicking at the top of the document automatically puts you in the header. We're then going to put a page number top of the page, and we're looking at for it in the format X of Y, and we want it on the right-hand side. Once we've selected it, you will make sure that that transfers to the rest of the document, which it doesn't, and that could be because we've got a continuous break or a next page section break somewhere. So we just need to go into the next page. Once again, go top of page, X of Y, right hand side. We can then double click to get back into the document, and then we can just double check our page numbers. So there's 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3. That's perfect. The next thing we need to do is locate the heading at the top, or the shape at the top of the document. They ask us to add the word or the text findings to the shape. So you simply need to click inside the shape, type the word findings, and the next step is to fill the shape with blue color instead of this green. To do that, you see where your highlights go on in your ribbon, it's shape format, and we're going to change the shape fill. They don't specify which blue, so I'm just going to go with one of the standard blue colors there. Now for 2 marks. 2.3 asks us to locate the heading Lifelong Skills. You can find it over here. They ask us to add a comment containing your name to this heading. So I select this heading. I'm then going to insert because I'm putting something into the document. Go across in the ribbon halfway to where it says insert comment. And there's the comment, and they just ask us to add a comment with your name. And we've done so. So now if someone had to click on this comment, they would see one with my name. The next step is to format this heading with heading 1 style. I've still got it selected. To do the styles, you click on the home menu, and in the styles gallery we're going to change it to heading style 1. 2 marks there. 2.4 asks us to locate the text in red under the heading platforms used. So this bit here, and we need to change it from what it currently is to the format that it shows in the question paper. You can just change the view quickly where it shows us here the various things. There you can see there's a left line with WhatsApp, and then there's a leader line with a, right line, and then a left line on the far side with the page numbers. Cool. Already got the tabs in. All that we need to do is add the tab stops. Home menu, go to the paragraph grouping on the ribbon. I go to more options. This dialog box opens. I click on the tabs control button in the bottom left corner, changes it to the tabs button. So far, we just need to modify those tab stops that they've utilized there. Just going to double check which they're, yeah, okay, so that's fine. So the one is set at 4 centimeters, and we said that was a right tab, so 4 right set. Then there's one at 7 centimeters, but it needs to be a left tab and it also needs a leader line. So I just select that leader line and click set. So the 7 centimeter one, we just modified it slightly. It's still left tab, but it has a leader line as well. Click OK. And there you can see it reflects like in the question paper. WhatsApp, Microsoft Teams, and Google Classroom all aligned with a leader line across through to the page numbers on the right side. 2.5 asks us to locate the smart art diagram under the heading Driving the Process, which we've done. It's over here. And we need to change it so it looks like this. People at the top, planning and process, and you can see our pyramid is also inverted. So in order to accomplish that, I select it. I'm going to go to my smart art design, and then instead of it going inverted pyramid, I'm going to put it the other direction. To get an extra field, I always say this tab section on the back side where you can do your text is your friend because it helps you format smart art with ease. Hit the return key next to people. It creates a new area on the smart art, and I can type in planning. And that was worth 3 marks. It was inverting your pyramid, creating the new section, and typing the text planning. Right, we then need to locate the table under the heading Survey of e-learning. Here it is, and we need to first format this internet connectivity point so that the text is showing from left to right instead of pointing up. That's a layout problem, and text direction is under alignment. You simply click on it and toggle it until it's where you want it to be. Also, the text in the example in your question paper is centered off center in your cell. So you click on that middle box. It also doesn't have that diagonal border going through it, and that's a table design problem. You'll go and find that diagonal border. There you can see it's been marked off, and you click on it again to get rid of it. So there were 3 things you had to do there. It was changing your text direction, centering the text in the cell, and removing the diagonal border, which gives you the 3 marks there. They ask us to carry on with the same table and change the formula in the bottom right cell so that it calculates the largest amount of data used in a month in megabytes. Now, you need to be careful here because currently we can see the heading here identifies the contents of these this column as gigabytes. So we have already got the largest amount. Let's just check and see that that function has been done correctly. You select it. You can either right click to edit it, or you can go to layout and click on the formula. So it's currently doing a sum above. I don't want to do a sum above. I do want to change it to max. So I've got a max of the above, which shows me the largest amount. If I scroll through that, yes, it is in fact that one, but remember this is in gigabytes. So in order to convert the gigabytes into megabytes, I need to multiply that by 1024. Click on the function again, and I'm just going to add in a times 1024 in order to convert it to megabytes. Right, we then need to format the bottom row of the table so that it appears as the example in the question paper. You can see it's not shaded in black. The text is right aligned, and the row height is also the same as the preceding rows. So let's go ahead and do that. This is going to, you see this is actually 2 cells, so I'll start off by merging those 2 cells. I will then also change the shading to clear, and I also need to change the row height. The preceding row heights were set at 0.53, so I'll do the same here. Just double check, I think our pending cell could have been here. Right, we'll notice that the row height has been set to 0.53 in both cells, but we still have this big gap before highest amount. So my next step would be go and check the paragraph spacing, and if I open that up I can see yes, they have in fact put 30 points before spacing on the paragraph. So if I remove that, we'll fix the row height. Right, 2.7 wants us to locate the table under the heading data usage, this one over here, and they want us to sort the information so that the table shows the schools that use ADSL at the top. So I select the data, not the headings, the data in this table, like so, and I will then go to layout and click on sort, and I'm going to sort it according to the first column in ascending order, because obviously then it's going to go from A through to F, and ADSL will then reflect first in my table. Schools that use the most data on each connection type, ADSL and fiber, should appear first. So currently it's going from smallest to largest. I want it to go from largest to smallest. Open up the sort again. So it's sorting the first column correctly. The second column, I want it to go in descending order. So in other words, it's going to go from the largest number down to the smallest number. Just double check those values there. Let's go back to the sort. There we go, column 2. This one was according to column 1. That's ascending, this is descending. And there we go. ADSL 36 gigs through down to 12, fiber 794 gigs down to 32. Right, 2.8 has us looking at another smart art diagram. Is a smart art? No, it's just a image that we need to edit. They ask us to change the image so that it appears as follows. I'll once again show you the question paper here. So you'll see adaptation's got a solid border instead of the dotted or outline border, and the grouping, no, it was just that one thing that needed to be changed. So I'm going to start off by ungrouping the shapes. If they have been already, I can select this one separately, so that's fine. If I go to shape outline and I go to dashes, I can change it back to a solid line there. They also ask me to format the agility shape so that it appears in front of the other two. So I select that one and I'm going to tell it to bring to front. So it's agility first, adoption, then adaptation, and adaptation needed a solid line for 2 marks. Open the 2 keywords document. Go back to my exam folder. I want this one open. And they ask me to copy the whole image, all 3 shapes, from the 2 findings document to the 2 keywords document, and save the 2 keywords document as 2 image in your exam folder. Right, so I'm going to grab this entire image, push Ctrl C to copy, or you can use your ribbon and copy it at the top on your home tab. You open your 2 keywords document, Ctrl V or paste, and they ask me then to save this as 2 image. So I would have gone to File, Save As, and I'm going to browse to my exam folder, and then I would change this to 2 image and save. There's 2 image, it's been saved correctly, and we can save and close. So that was the 30 marks from question 2. Question 3 has us working in the 3 research document if you're English, and or the 3 navorsing document if you're Afrikaans. This is our Excel question and probably one of my favorite sections in the exam paper to work in. The important thing to notice when you open up this Excel workbook is that obviously there are numerous spreadsheets within this workbook, and that you are working in the correct one when working on the question. So first things first is they ask us to open the spreadsheet 3 research. We've done so. If you're asked to insert a functional formula in a single cell, they say you must ensure that the functional formula will work correctly if it's copied down. In other words, if it's a value that needs to stay in one place, that you've used absolute cell referencing to fix that value in your spreadsheet. Right, the first thing they want us to do is general housekeeping. They say perform the following actions in the worksheet tabs. They want to hide the connections types worksheet. So this one they want to hide. You just have to right click on it and say hide. It's now hidden. So we haven't actually deleted it. It's just no longer visible. If you go to the bottom of the spreadsheet, you should still be able to click unhide and find out which of the spreadsheets is hidden, and there you can see connection types is in that list. And then they would like us to move the chart tab to the right of survey. You select it and click and drag it to the right, and now it's the right of survey. And they want to change the chart type tab to red, so you right click on it and go to tab color, and you can make it red. Right, then we're going to work in the survey worksheet. They ask me to format the cells A1 to H1 as follows. So let's go and select A1 to H1. They want us to merge and center those cells. It's simply going up to your home ribbon, merge and center. They also want to fill the merge cell with any color of your choice. So there's no specification. One of my favorite colors is red. So there we go. That's for 2 marks. They then ask us to format the merged cells below, cell A2 and B2, so that it displays as shown in the screenshot. So let me quickly give you a look at that. If you look here, you'll see that date of survey has been wrapped, connection is in the center of the cell, capped has been rotated up. So let's go ahead and do that. Right, so date of survey, I select that cell, click on wrap text. Connection seems fine. Capped, however, we need to change the text direction, and that we can do over here. And I'm going to say rotate text up. And we need to put a thick border around. Oh, there is currently a thick border around connection. I want a normal border, so I just go and say all borders, and you'll notice that it no longer has that thick border. So there were 3 things that I did there. Wrap the text, change the direction, change the border style, 3 marks. Make the necessary change so that the date in cell K1 is displayed as follows. Tuesday, or I must say 2/20 oct. And currently it's in full. So I go to my number grouping on the home tab on the ribbon here, click on custom, I go more number formats. So here you can see the type that it's using in order to display it as it currently is. So in this dialog box, you'll notice if I go to this first bit and I remove a D, it's now made it just 2, which is what I'm looking for. So instead of Tuesday, it's just made it 2/20 oct. I then can click OK. That's all I needed to change there for 1 mark. They say a company has decided to donate an amount to each school. The amount that the company will donate is calculated by taking 10% of the data used by the school in column G. They take 10% of that, and they multiply this by the amount given in K2, that 50 Rand. So 10% of how much they used multiplied by the 50 there. So we want to determine over here what the amount is that they donate for this school in particular. So I will say equals that multiplied by 10 shift percent, or you can do 0.1 because that's, yeah, that would be the same. So that gives me 10% of the data used, but remember it's multiplied by the amount in K2. So then I will put my insertion point at the end there, put in a times, and I'm going to click on K2, which is the donation amount. Double click on that one, hit the return key, and there you can see they would donate 2,500 Rand based on the fact that they had used 500 gigs there. Right, so that was for 3 marks. 3.6, they say format cell H6 using the same format as was used for the others amounts in column H. I look at H6. You'll notice that the rands are sitting right against it. I'm guessing that's because they've used a custom currency there. If I make it accounting and change it to Rand South African, accounting usually with their format will put the Rand symbol to the left of the cell. Whereas with currency, it puts it right up against it. So you can choose any of these Rands. South Africa, you can go Rand Afrikaans, Rand English, whatever. It really doesn't make a difference when it comes to currency, but you can see it's now formatted the same as all the other ones. Great. We need to insert a function into cell K4 that will determine the highest amount of data that a school used in the month. So of all these ones, I want to find the highest amount. And we've learned a function for this year. It's an equal max. So I'll say equal max, open bracket, and I select the cell range from there to here. Close parentheses, hit your return key, and you can see the highest amount of data used that month or by all of these schools was 794.4 gigabytes. The only options for the other connection types in column B are following: fiber, ADSL, 4G, or other. They say the number of schools using fiber, ADSL, and 4G appear in the cells K11 to N11. They want us to put in a function that will automatically count the number of schools that use another form of connection type. So I'll say equals count if, open brackets, I'm saying go look at the cell range over here. In the cell range, if you found one, I haven't put the criterion, I'm just going to put it in my argument here. If you found one where it says other. Now you can either click on the cell reference as I've done now, or you can say open quotation mark, other, close quotation mark. It does exactly the same. You can see 23 people use the other form of connection. You'll see if I change that to the cell reference like that, it will still say 23. So you can use either of those two, the fixed reference or the cell reference, where it will show how many schools utilize that internet connection type. Right, for the next question, they say a lucky draw will be held to thank the schools for taking part in the survey. We need to insert a function into cell K13 to generate a random whole number from 1 to the number of schools in the survey. So, the first thing is that I need to determine how many schools took part in the survey. And I can do it this way. I can say equals count, and I can select the number of schools over here. It's going to come up with 0 because obviously I was using a text range, so let's go and change that to a count A. 59 schools. I want to generate a random whole number between 1 and 59, so I'll say equals rand between, open brackets, 1 being my bottom value, comma, and I can either type in the 59, or I can click on the cell where I went and counted everyone up. Hit the close brackets, and as soon as I hit the return key, you'll see the random lucky winner is number 27. 3.10, they say a Y in any of the cells in column D to F indicates that the school uses that platform when they are doing e-learning. So you'll see the schools have used WhatsApp, Teams, and Google Classroom, and I need to set something up that will determine the number of schools that use Google Classroom. So I want to know how many of them use Google Classroom. They've already counted up all the people that have used WhatsApp. They've counted the number of schools using MS Teams. Google Classroom, if I wanted to count how many used there, I'd say equals count if, open brackets. I'm looking at the cell range over here. In that cell range, I want you to count them if you see a Y. Now I can see 16 schools utilize Google Classroom. Great. we then need to insert a function into cell K21 over there to determine the date on which most of the surveys were completed. So here's when the survey was completed. I want to know which date was the one that most of them completed the survey, which will be a mode function to see which one occurs the most. So I select that cell range with the dates, and I'll see that most of the surveys were completed on the 7th of October. Another function I need to add for 3.11, they ask me to insert a function into cell K21. No, we did that one, sorry. 3.12 asks me to look at the following. We need to locate the chart on the survey worksheet we found over here, and we need to change the chart so that it appears as follows. You can see as fiber, it's got a data label on the outside end there, ADSL with a data label on the outside end, 4G data label outside end, y-axis label, y-axis values, and x-axis identifying the different data types. Currently, we've got the same here. They don't have data labels. And then the other thing you'll notice in this screenshot is that they haven't utilized grid lines, which they have here in this one. So in order to get rid of the grid lines, I click on the plus sign, no grid lines, data labels, but I'm going to go to the more option and I'm going to say, please give me data labels on the outside end. And I want a y-axis label as well, primary vertical. Triple click in order to select it, type in schools, and now my chart looks the same. They want us to move this chart to the chart worksheet. That's a simple fix. You select it, Control X, go to the chart worksheet, put your insertion pointer, select one of the cells there, Control V, and it's pasted into the chart worksheet. Right, back to the survey worksheet. We need to study the incomplete function in K24. This function must calculate the number of schools that use all three platforms. In other words, they've got a Y by D all the way to F. So I'm going to insert a function there that will count out the number of schools where there's a Y across the board. So here you can see this school, for example, yes, yes, yes. They utilize WhatsApp, MS Teams, and Google Classroom. Now, when working on a question like this in the exam, you are more than welcome to make use of building blocks. You can see they've identified an area here already in column Q where I can do just that. And they've started a function already where I can, they've started the function name. In fact, they've said equal countif. We need to count something. So I'm going to go and finish this function. I'm going to say equals countif. Countif in the cell range over here, whether it says Y. So all that it's going to do for me is count up in those cell ranges there how many Y's there are. So obviously in this first one there's 1, 2. Now if I take that function and I autofill it down, you'll see there are counts up in each of those rows. So in this row there are 2, 2, 2. There's a lucky number 3. And now all that I need to do is finish off this function where it says countif in that cell range there if the criteria there is going to be if they are 3. And so only 4 schools use all the platforms. There's 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and I've missed one other one, but yeah, 4 in total. So my first step was to count in that row how many Y's there were. Obviously if there were 3, then in this function count if I found a 3 there, and that would show me how many schools actually utilize all 3 platforms. Right, we then need to change the page layout of the worksheet as follows. They say change the page orientation to portrait. In order to do that, you go to page layout, orientation, portrait, simple fix. they ask us to clear the print area that's currently being utilized. I go to print area and I say clear print area. They then also ask me to ensure that if the worksheet is printed, it will be printed with grid lines. In other words, I want to be able to see these gray lines that I see at the moment. If I toggle back to print view, you'll notice that it only shows you the bit where there are borders. This other space, there are none. So I want to ensure that they are in fact visible when printing. So in order to do that, you have by grid lines. In your ribbon, you just say you want to print them as well. So now if I show you my print preview and I scroll down, you'll see the grid lines are visible, but your borders are obviously darker. And that was the last thing we had to do for question 3.14. That brought us to a total of 40 marks for the Excel question. Question 1 being 30, question 2 30, and then this final question 40, which brought the total for this question paper up to 100. I hope this guideline helped. Study hard, and I hope your exam goes well.